everyone, it's me, lcadilac. I am an attorney in the DFW area. I am a mainly real estate focused attorney, which means that I am a litigation attorney, which means that I am in the courtroom. I don't do criminal defense, but I do criticize criminal defense. Anyhow, I make videos about trials, I follow trials, and I talk about them here on YouTube. So, today we are continuing our discussion about Sarah Boone, aka Suitcase Sarah, and this discussion is going to be part of a two-part discussion, which is the saga of Sarah's lawyers, okay? And I wrote it all down. It's all here in the notes, and I want to go through exactly like what happened and what. In this case, I am going to start with where we are today, and we'll work our way back. Now, Sarah is set for trial on October 7th. She did get new counsel, and we'll get into that here in a minute. And that counsel did ask for an extension, and the judge said, hell no. So that counsel has 29 days to get ready from the date I am recording this. I think he's going to do just fine. I'm really not too worried about it being too difficult for him or him struggling. And in fact, I saw another lawyer filed in to co-chair, co-counsel with the new one. So I think it's going to work out for Sarah in terms of her counsel. I think she's going to have plenty of really good, well-prepared counsel. I'm not worried about that. All right, before we get any further into it, I would like to remind you all that it is September, which is my birth month. And for my birth month, I am donating 43% of all proceeds I earn on these streams and videos to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This is a group that does excellent work. They put out missions to find children who are more at higher risk. I'm talking runaway foster children, children who truly believe that nobody loves them or that they're not deserving of love. And these people send people out, they find them, they rescue the children from trafficking. So for my goal, for my birthday, I'm going to be 43. I'm going to give 43% of proceeds. That's when you join your membership, buy some merch, do a super sticker, a thanks, any of those things. We're going to give 43% of that to this amazing group. And I would love for us to fund an entire mission on our own. If we could do that, that would be so dope. We are at twice my age right now in collections, so let's keep it up. Thank you so much for everyone that has participated, and I appreciate that very much. So, I'm filming September 9th. You're going to see this on September 11th. Lots of action is going on at the law office of James Owens. This is the new lawyer who has been hired by Sarah Boone. Now, I had watched a Court TV YouTube video where an attorney from back east had said that he would go to Florida and take Sarah's case. And in fact, that discussion is what inspired my Sarah Boone BPD video, which we will link for you. Anyhow, I saw a Court TV interview of this James Owens, and he had watched the same interview and he had heard the same lawyer volunteering. And he said that is what caused him to volunteer. Now, he did, in that interview, say that Sarah Boone is paying him. He has clients, he says, who pay as little as $50 a month, as long as you are making payments. I tend to be that way, but then I find people don't make payments. So it's rough. I would like to be more that way. But it is what it is. I'm assuming this is his wife, because of the wedding ring and the hug from behind. It would be weird in my mind if that was his child hugging him from behind. So anyhow, James Owens, I kind of love this like action stance. He seems like he's pretty well decorated attorney. He is not out of Orlando. And in an interview I heard, he said he was waiting for an Orlando lawyer to step up. It never happened. So he filed in. Then I found this filing. Kevin T. Beck is entered an appearance as co-counsel. I couldn't find a lot on Kevin, but I did find his bar page. He is in good standing. He had an admonishment in 2021. lot of people had that because I think, maybe they didn't call clients during COVID or whatever. Okay, so that is where we are today. Sarah has what appears to be 2 really good, experienced criminal defense attorneys. Now, I saw rumors in the comments that Sarah and her lawyer already had an arguing match. What I heard the lawyer say in his interview is they get along great. There was no arguing match. But also that he did a practice where he came to her as a prosecutor and began to present the prosecution case. And he said that kind of made her realize, like, oh, that's what that is. Okay. So Sarah is now on lawyer number 9, unless we want to count her as her own lawyer, in which case she's 10, but we're not going to count her as her own lawyer, though she did represent herself. One of the very first motions this new lawyer put in, Mr. James Owens, was a motion to abandon, as it says, this is from 9-3. Defense abandons motions previously filed by pro se defendant. Defendant's pro se motions for cost is denied as moot. Defense counsel adopt motions as stated on the record. State shall file a response no later than 9:10 and 5 p.m. Okay, so first thing he came in and said was, please ignore everything my client did. Ignore. I am sure the judge is more than happy to accommodate that request. Oh, good. I don't have to read these handwritten motions. Thank Jesus. Okay, so prior to Mr. Owens, and I'm sure you all heard, Sarah was going to be representing herself. And that is because attorney number 8 was looking to quit again. It is my belief that attorney number 8 was looking to quit because there was an issue between her and Sarah. Okay, here's the thing though. When I did this research and I went through, 4 of those first 8 attorneys, 4 of them quit and asked to be removed, not because of Sarah, doing Sarah, but because they were conflicted out. There was a conflict between them and continuing to present with Sarah, 4 of them. That is because Sarah and Jorge had such a tumultuous relationship that they had several cases, DV cases in the court system where they had public defenders and public prosecutors. So, these people kind of moved to different jobs or whatever, but if you've been through this public defender's office, then they might be conflicted out. And in this case, they were conflicted because it was the same victim and defendant, accused. So it's the same 2 people, it's the same 2 parties again and again. So the last lawyer that Sarah had prior to the one she has now is Cashman. And Cashman represented Sarah from February 9th to June 11th of 2024. So Cashman was the woman who was a private practice attorney who had been appointed. She has since made a motion to get the full $15,000. It is my understanding that Sarah wanted to be hyper involved in her defense. And prior to having Mr. Owens as her counsel, who she has now, Sarah did not necessarily understand the role of counsel and what the real job, the actual job was of her defense counsel. And as such, she became one of these clients that is calling all the time. Every time you call my office, you cost me money. I have to pay people to answer the phone, right? If you call and you hit every extension, like every time you do that, that's money on the business owner, right? So every time Sarah calls Cashman in her office during working hours, that's a call, what Cashman's legal assistant can't take from another potentially paying client. That's a call that costs Cashman money in that she, pays her employees a salary and probably maybe benefits, who knows, right? So that is incredibly frustrating. And I have fired many clients because they thought they had an all access pass and could just call every 2 minutes. And you can't. And Sarah was doing that. Okay. So that is a lawyer that left because of a conflict with Sarah's personality. There's no doubt. Before that was a Winston Edward Hobson. He represented Sarah from September 8th, 2023 to February 1st, 2024. Okay. September, October, November, December, January. 5 months. So it seems to me that maybe Sarah starts to get frustrated around the 5 to 6 month range when she hasn't really seen a lot of movement or heard from her attorney very much. And I understand that. But let me just tell you why lawyers don't really get necessarily prepared for a trial months in advance of trial. Okay, so I have a trial set for October 14th. And last week I had a day where it ended up being a free calendar day. So I said, you know what? Let me do the prudent thing, the thing I never do. Let me prepare ahead of time. I'll start getting together the jury charges and all of the things I need to prepare for this trial. And I went down a deep route of deep work to prepare for a trial that is a month from now. And when my head came to back up and I finished that work to be able to look at email, they had asked for a jury, which means womp womp. My trial date got changed literally in the middle of me working on the trial. So a lot of us learn over time. It's not maybe probably the best idea to get super prepared right there, 5 months ahead of time. You kind of want to save the preparation until the very end. It all is very moving and fluid and can change. And Sarah just doesn't understand this, right? Or she didn't until she got her new lawyer with whom she is stuck. So even if she doesn't understand, it doesn't matter. Everybody's stuck. All right. Between July of 22 and August of 23, and in response to Sarah sending a letter to the judge, Sarah had a lawyer called Bankowitz. And Bankowitz asked to remove himself, or I think it's himself, after Sarah sent a letter to the judge. But Bankowitz represented Sarah for over a year, for 13 months. And I can understand that if I were a lay person and I didn't understand how slow the court system is, and how poorly our government moves, and how slowly our government moves, and how incredibly tedious these things are, I might, after 13 months of sitting in jail, also send a letter going, what the fuck is going on? Where's my trial? What's this constitutional right? And what? I don't understand. So while it wasn't appropriate for Sarah to send a letter to the judge, and her sending the letter to the judge is an instant. If I have a client that sends a letter to a judge while I'm representing the client, I'm withdrawing immediately too. So is every lawyer I've ever met. So I understand the attorney, but I can also kind of understand where Sarah's coming from. What gives, man? In 2020, y'all arrested her. You arrested me in February of 2020. It is now August of 23. Where's my trial? I can understand that Sarah would be frustrated. I really can. I can empathize with that. Immediately before that, she had a lawyer for 1 month who was Consolo, and that lawyer was conflicted out. So I don't even think that lawyer should count against her. Now, the lawyer saga, prior to her hiring this new counsel, these videos were going to be very different, because I believed that even though the judge said she exhausted things, truly she only had 4 lawyers that didn't get along with her or had some kind of personality issue. The other 4 lawyers left because of a conflict. And I know that would have caused an appeal issue. Now, I do believe that the judge not giving a continuance to this new counsel is also probably something that would be ripe for appeal and certainly will be mentioned at the appeal or as part of the appeal. However, this new lawyer is very experienced. So the fact that he has 30 days to prepare for a trial, it's not great. It's not a lot. He's not happy. But guess what? He can do it. And he's a professional. He's the utmost professional. And her alternative at that point was herself. So I don't know that the appeals court will weigh that very heavily. All right, we're halfway through Sarah's lawyers. We're going to go next week and get through the other half of Sarah's lawyers to where we began and what went wrong to begin with. Then after that, we will get into her 58-page letter. And then we'll be all the way immediately already crazy in October. Her trial will start on October 7th. So excited to see those opening statements. It is going to be a different kind of trial now than it was going to be last week because she's no longer pro se, but it will be a thrilling and exciting trial nonetheless, because now it's some really, really excellent, experienced attorneys going against each other. And I love that. I love a good fight between well-qualified fighters. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your contributions. Don't forget, the month of September, for my 43rd birthday, I am giving 43% of those contributions to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week.